Hey everyone, it's Heather Nichols, and today I'm going to share with you how I created this foiled rainbow card. The foiling I did on this project is quick and easy to do and doesn't require heat to transfer it. I'm using the Over the Rainbow die along with the Pierced Cloud from the Rainbow Cloud Duo die collection. I'm using red and silver Deco foil along with the TE exclusive Rainbow Bright Deco foil transfer sheets. I'll be using Stick It for my non-heat foil transfer technique. I'm using the Over the Rainbow Clearly Crafty stamp set and also the Building Blocks Be Bright stamp and the coordinating Building Blocks die. I'm using sea salt ink to do my stamping. I'll be doing some embossing, so I'll need VersaMark ink, white embossing powder, my powder tool, and a heat tool. And finally, I'll be using foam squares to pop up different elements on my project. To get started, I'm taking a piece of sugar cube cardstock and I'm going to apply Stick It to both sides of that piece of cardstock. So I'll peel the backing from the Stick It and add it to the cardstock, and I'll do that on each side. This puts adhesive on both sides of my piece of cardstock. One side I'll be foiling and the other side will make it very easy to attach to my project. I'll be die cutting the Over the Rainbow die from my piece of cardstock with the Stick It on both sides, and I'll also be die cutting a number of the Pierced Cloud designs from the Rainbow Cloud Duo die collection. I'm leaving the rainbow die inset into the piece of cardstock and just peeling off the backing over each of the rainbow arcs. I'm not taking the backing off over the heart because I'm going to do that in a different color foil than the rest of the rainbow. Next, I'll take a piece of the Rainbow Brights foil and I will lay that over the exposed adhesive on the rainbow arcs. I trimmed away the excess foil with my scissors, and then I found that a bone folder was the best way to make sure that I rubbed the design down into the adhesive so that everything would transfer well. If you've ever done rub-ons for scrapbooking or stamping projects, this really reminds me of that, where you use a burnishing tool to transfer the design onto your project. You can always peel back a little bit, and if you need to do some more burnishing, you can do that. And then when you're ready and you are confident that all the foiling is done, you peel back the foil and reveal your design. I'll use the same process to add the red foil to the heart, and I'll also add silver foil to the cloud die cuts. I'll be adding my foiled rainbow and clouds to a piece of sugar cube cardstock, but I'm also going to stamp some hearts from the Over the Rainbow stamp set with sea salt ink into the background to add some texture and interest. I laid out my rainbow and clouds onto the piece of sugar cube cardstock so I could determine where I wanted the hearts to go on the background, and then I'll put that into my MISTI and put the stamps where I want them to go, close the lid of the MISTI to pick up the stamps, ink them up with sea salt ink, and stamp them into the background. Sea salt ink is a very light color, so you may want to stamp your image more than once. It's going to just be a really subtle effect, but it's adding a really nice texture to my background. I'll be stamping the sentiment for my card using the Building Blocks Be Bright stamp. I'm embossing the words and phrases from the set in white embossing powder onto a piece of Toffee cardstock. I'll condition my cardstock with my powder tool to eliminate static. I'll set the stamp in my MISTI where I want it to stamp, and then I'll close the lid of the MISTI to pick up the stamp. I'll ink the stamp with VersaMark ink, and then I'll close the lid of the MISTI to stamp the sentiments onto the Toffee cardstock. I'll add white embossing powder and then use my heat tool to melt that powder and emboss the sentiments. I'll use the coordinating Building Blocks die to cut out the words and sentiments from the Building Blocks Be Bright set. Line up the alignment guides on the die with the alignment guides that's stamped with the stamp. I'll tape it in place with some removable tape and send it through my die cut machine. I'm adding my background on sugar cube cardstock to a Toffee card base, and then I'll add the rainbow and cloud elements where I want them on the card. Because I used Stick It, I can just peel off the backing and adhere the pieces to my card really quickly and easily. I attach the clouds to the ends of the rainbows using foam squares just to pop them up a little bit, and then I have two clouds that are going off the edge of the card, so once I have those adhered, I'll use my scissors to trim off the extra. I'm adding cut pieces of the foam squares to the backs of the Sending You and Rainbow from the Building Blocks Be Bright stamp, and then I'll add those to my card. And then the final touch to this card is that cute little red foil heart just just under the center of the rainbow. I hope you enjoyed my foiled rainbow card, and I hope you learned something new. Maybe you'll try foiling with Stick It on your next project. You can find all of the supplies to create this card at the Tailored Expressions web store at tailoredexpressions.com. Thanks so much for joining me, everybody, and I'll see you next time.